My daughter, please leave some space. Let me fetch water too.
Old woman, are you blind? Can't you see I came here first?
My child, respect is free. Learn to be respectful.
Respect? Who do you think you are?
May your hands remember this day.
What is happening to my hand? What is happening to my hand?
Long ago, in the ancient village of Jojola, there lived a young woman called Shasha. Shasha was very beautiful. Her skin glowed under the sun, and her steps were confident and proud. She was also bold and strong, never afraid to speak her mind. But behind her beauty was a heart hard like dry stone, a heart that refused to listen or bend. Shasha had no respect for anyone. She spoke to elders, men and women old enough to be her parents, as if they were small children. When an elder advised her, she would roll her eyes and talk back without fear. To her mates, she was even worse. She shouted, insulted them, and laughed when they complained. If anyone warned her to change her ways, she mocked them openly. Whenever someone tried to correct her, Shasha would place her hands on her waist and shout, "Who are you to talk to me?" Her words were sharp. Her voice was loud. Her mouth showed no mercy. Soon, the people of Jojola stopped advising her. They avoided her path and whispered when she passed. Some said it was better to face fire than to face Shasha's tongue. And so, in the peaceful village of Jojola, Shasha's words became a thing of fear, and her disrespect spread like a dark shadow over the land. One hot afternoon, when the sun burned high in the sky and the air felt heavy, Shasha walked to the village stream with her water pot resting on her head. The stream was very old. It had been there long before Shasha was born, older than Jojola itself. The elders always warned the people, saying the ancestors watched over that stream, and no one should behave badly there. But Shasha did not care. She knelt by the water and bent forward to fill her pot. As she was scooping the water, an old woman slowly walked toward her. The woman's back was bent from age. Her steps were slow. Her voice was soft and calm. She spoke gently and said, "My daughter, please leave some space. Let me fetch water too." Shasha turned sharply. She hissed in anger. "Old woman, are you blind?" She shouted loudly. "Can't you see I came here first?" People nearby stopped and looked. The old woman did not shout back. She only smiled sadly and replied, "My child, respect is free." Those words entered Shasha's heart like fire. Her face changed. Her temper rose. Before anyone could stop her, Shasha raised her hand and slapped the old woman. The sound echoed across the stream. At once, the birds in the trees flew away in fear. The water of the stream became strangely still, as if it was holding its breath. The old woman slowly lifted her head and looked at Shasha. There was no anger in her eyes, only deep sorrow. She spoke just one sentence, "May your hands remember this day." Then, without another word, she turned and walked away, leaving behind a silence that felt heavier than any curse. Before Shasha even reached her house, the hand she used to slap the old woman began to itch badly. At first, she ignored it. But as she walked, the itching became strong and uncomfortable. She stopped and scratched her hand, but it only made things worse. By the time night fell, her hand had started to swell. It looked bigger than normal and felt hot. When Shasha woke up the next morning, she screamed. Her hand was now twice its normal size. The pain was sharp and burning, like fire inside her flesh. As the hours passed, the swelling kept growing and growing. People gathered around her in fear. The villagers gasped. Some shook their heads. Others whispered nervously. They tried to help. Leaves were boiled and the hot water was poured on her hand. Roots were ground and tied around it with cloth. Ointments were rubbed again and again. But nothing worked. Instead of going down, the hand became even bigger. Everyone knew this was not an ordinary sickness. The hand kept swelling. In desperation, when all hope seemed lost, Shasha was taken to the great herbalist of Jojola. The herbalist was an old man with grey hair and deep, knowing eyes. His hut smelled of herbs, roots, and smoke. Many people believed he could see things beyond the eyes of men. Shasha sat before him, holding her huge swollen hand, her face full of fear and pain. The old man looked at her hand for a long time. He touched it gently. Then he shook his head slowly. "This is not an ordinary sickness," he said in a deep voice. "This is the punishment of the ancestors." At those words, Shasha broke down. For the first time in her life, she cried like a child. Tears rolled down her face as she sobbed loudly. "What must I do?" she begged, her voice shaking. "Please help me." The herbalist sighed and replied, "Go to the old woman by the stream. Kneel before her. Ask her for forgiveness." As those words entered Shasha's ears, a small light of hope returned to her heart. She believed that if she could find the old woman and say sorry, her hand would be healed. Early the next morning, before the sun fully rose, Shasha set out to look for the old woman. Her swollen hand hung heavy by her side, wrapped in cloth. Her heart was full of fear and hope at the same time. She walked from house to house, asking everyone she met, "Have you seen the old woman from the stream? Where does she live?" People looked at her strangely. Then, at the village square, a man looked at her with sad eyes and spoke softly. "The old woman?" he asked. "Yes, we heard about her." He paused and sighed. "She died yesterday." The words hit Shasha like a heavy stone. She could not stand anymore. Shasha fell to the ground. She screamed loudly, a cry filled with regret and pain. She wept without control, beating her chest. She tore her clothes in sorrow. The truth was clear. There was no one left to forgive her. No one to kneel before. No apology left to say. And in that moment, Shasha understood that some mistakes can never be undone. From that day, Shasha's hand never returned to normal. It remained swollen, heavy and painful. Children pointed at it. Adults shook their heads. Shasha became quiet. Her proud voice disappeared. She now greeted elders properly. She spoke softly to everyone. But the lesson came too late. Remember, respect is not weakness. Words can wound deeper than knives. And some apologies come when forgiveness is no longer available. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button, comment and share this story. Thanks for watching.